the same type of thing happened. I was imitating someone else's sound. Mm-hmm. But then I realized I had to find my own sound if I wanted to make a difference.
Hello and welcome to Where the Living Room Used to Be, a podcast about Rhode Island's music scene. Hey everyone, it's James. For this episode, I got to chat with Charlie Marie about her new album, Ramble On. Which is coming out in May, but you can actually pre-order it now over on her Bandcamp page, so go check that out if you can. In our interview, we talked about the making of this record, how fellow Rhode Islander Tyler James Kelly of the Silks came to be involved with it, plus her overall songwriting process and experience playing with Brian McKinnon. We even go all the way back to her early vocal lessons and some of the first places that she performed. Charlie is amazing, and I hope you all enjoy the episode. Please subscribe wherever you're listening right now, as I'll be releasing some mini episodes over the coming weeks. And make sure to follow Where the Living Room Used to Be on Facebook and Instagram to see some show photos, flyers, and a whole bunch more from Charlie's time in music. Thanks. You grew up in northern Rhode Island, correct?
Yeah, so I grew up in Barville, Rhode Island.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just, I've told the story a lot of times, like tell the story, but I don't ever think I've actually said this, but one of the reasons why I wanted to start singing country music or singing in general was, did you remember hearing that girl, Geraldine Sawyer's name? She used to be in like my fourth grade class, but she used to sing all over the place when she was a kid.
Okay.
And she was in my fourth grade class, and I just remember her always singing, and I just thought she was super cool. And I was like, I want to be like that girl.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be cool like Geraldine Sawyer. And like, yeah. I mean, nobody really wants to admit that, but that's the truth. Like, I wanted to be like her. Absolutely, and so I started singing, and like, I would like try to imitate and like sing along to the radio. And my grandmother like saw me singing, so I went to vocal lessons. And like the first time I went to a lesson, my teacher, his name was John Catone, and he was from New England, so it was like straightforward. He basically told me that I was imitating people and I sucked. And I was like, yeah, well, I mean, not like completely like that, but
just I was you're trying to sound like this instead of just singing as you would sing more,
Yeah. And so I was hurt, but then I was like, okay. So I remember I went home and like, I prayed to God, and I just listened to what he said. And then I went to the next lesson and I was better, and I kept going. And then like, the more I went, and I started to like develop my actual voice. I wasn't imitating anyone anymore. He said, you sound a lot like Patsy Cline.
Yeah.
And then, my grandmother would always come and sit on the couch reading magazines, and she's like, oh yeah, Patsy Cline, I love her. And then after that, we went to Strawberries, which probably doesn't exist anymore.
I don't think they do.
The CD store. Yeah, no. And we got a Patsy Cline CD. And then from there, I started singing Patsy Cline songs. And then from there, I went to karaoke, and it kind of like just snowballed from there.
Yeah. Okay. Was it always country? Was your family listening to country music, or what kind of brought you to that, other than what you had just said about having that similarity of sounding like Patsy Cline, but was it something that was just around and you kind of, gravitated towards it?
Yeah. So it was honestly, like everything started with Patsy Cline for me, like country wise, because my singing, like John Catone, he had me sing like Broadway tunes and stuff too. So I did that. And I also did country music on the side. But basically, when I would go out and sing karaoke, I met one of my grandmother's best friend. Her name was Bertha. And all of this stuff is so wild. But anyway, I can't believe it. When I start telling these stories, they blow me away. But this lady named Bertha, she was awesome, wicked nice lady. I don't know how they're related, but this guy named Joe, I don't know if you know who Joe Johnson is, but he's friends with Paul Jacob. Sometimes he does sound on the side, but he's a very nice guy. And anyway, he saw me at karaoke and I was singing at this restaurant called Casa Fernandez, which doesn't exist anymore. But I actually just saw the lady. I see her at the, her name's Kathy.
Yeah.
She works at the post office over, in North Smithfield. And Kathy used to own Casa Fernandez. So now when I go to like send
that was
out
over
fan mail
by in like Black Hut, right? The one that's
right
in the middle of the woods. Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Wow.
So
nice.
It's really funny because like how everything is always connected. So like today, I literally went and sent out like a couple of CDs from that fans had purchased, and I guess who sent them out was Kathy. Again, from Casa Fernandez. So it's all very strange. But anyway, so I sang karaoke and Joe took me under his wing and helped me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know how that is. I'm sure you've had plenty of people have helped you, but that's, how I got my start. And his daughter used to have like a horse farm, and we would go, my sister and I would go up there horseback riding. And that's how I kind of really started listening to country music. Because on the way, Joe would always play like Hank Williams and Alan Jackson. And I remember being like obsessed with Tracy Lawrence and like all these like country artists. And so that's kind of how I ended up getting like enthralled in it.
Yeah.
But it all started with Patsy Cline for me.
Yeah. And how old were you when you started taking vocal lessons?
I think I was like 10. I was 10 years old. It was in fourth grade.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. I always felt like a weirdo in school. All the kids thought I was a weirdo because I, was into country music.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, is definitely something I want to talk about in this interview, is just how unapologetic you are about Rhode Island country music. And, it's on your shirts. It's, you're doing a great job of, putting a flag in here. Cause I mean, there is a history. I mean, there's also a country music Hall of Fame, a Rhode Island country music Hall of Fame. Like country music is here, but it seems that it's so connected with certain geographies or, I grew up outside of Worcester, Massachusetts. So probably not even too far. You probably have been there, the place Indian Ranch.
Yeah.
So that was actually my first concert. I saw Johnny Cash there.
Get out.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But my dad is a huge country music fan, and he's kind of stayed with it with what is kind of current. But yeah, Hank Williams and Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, up to Garth Brooks and, even Toby Keith and stuff that is still kind of current now. But that was what was around in my house. So just bringing it up because, growing up here in New England and Massachusetts, like there's a big community of people that enjoy country music, create country music. So, I just love what you're doing with that and for that, kind of backtracking though a little bit. So, you're 10, or so when you start singing, when did you start performing? Was it part of these like vocal groups or what was your first performance?
I think my first performance wasn't a part of the vocal group. I remember I would have my little outfit on with my hat. My grandmother would dress me.
Oh yeah.
She'd tell me what to wear. And I would practice in front of her. I had this little, these hand gestures and all this weird stuff as a child. It was bizarre.
Yeah.
And I would practice in front of her in the living room and she would watch me, whatever it would, and, but I think the first time I did play, I can't remember the name of the place. It was in Cumberland. It was some hall, but yeah, my vocal teacher put on a show and I sang a couple of songs and I remember being terrified. I always get nervous. I thought it would go away. It doesn't. I get terrified. And then I made myself go on stage and it was great. And I remember just telling my grandmother how much I wanted to do this forever. The feeling, because
really?
I'm sure you've had, I don't know if you've had that feeling, but being on stage and making yourself face the fear. And then when you come off, it's you feel like you're free for a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess that's what got me hooked.
There's a lot of nerves beforehand, and then in it just kind of happens, and there's like that disconnect that I kind of look for, just being able to be in the moment of just playing music. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what it's all about. And I don't think you realize it. You don't I didn't realize this stuff, why I wanted to do it. But I think why I like doing music is it makes you present, is what I realized. But yeah, it's tricky because you can also be in your head. It's very easy to get in your head too, man. And once you're in your head on stage, then you start making all those mistakes. And then if you keep getting in your head, that's bad. So luckily, I don't get too far into my head, which has been lucky. I've been lucky. But yeah, it's an interesting experience being an artist.
Yeah. So when did you start writing your own songs then, after performing for so long?
So yeah, this is another funny. All this stuff is funny. So in high school, I remember being blown away by Taylor Swift, because all of a sudden she was a girl that was a little bit older than me, and she was playing music and writing her own songs, and she wrote girl music, teenage girl music, and I was a teenage girl, and I loved it. And all my friends, we would jam out to Taylor Swift and on our way to field hockey games or whatever. And I just remember again seeing her and being I need to play guitar and write my own songs. I had tried guitar beforehand, but it hurts. It hurts when you first start playing. So
physically trying to
physically it's painful. It still is physically painful. But yeah, and so then after seeing her play guitar and write her own music, I was well, if I want to continue to do music, I probably have to do that too. And at the time, I always thought that writing songs was this huge mountain that I would never do. I would never climb that mountain. I thought that I would just be a singer. And so then, I decided, no, if I wanted to make it, that I would have to write my own songs. So then I think I was 16 when I started writing.
Okay.
But my songs sucked at first. They really sucked. And then it wasn't until I moved to Nashville that I figured out how to write songs.
Okay. Lyrically, you weren't happy with it, or just the chord?
Yeah, they just were nothing special.
Okay. I gotcha.
They were just I don't know how to explain it. They just weren't developed. They weren't good. You have to develop skills.
Yeah.
So I was just a beginner. But yeah, when I went to Nashville, I got better by going to open mics and writers rounds and listening to people and seeing picking apart, okay, so I saw 3 writers. Which writer stood out to me? Why did they stand out to me? Was it the melody? Was it the lyrics?
Yeah.
And I started to put things together, put pieces together for myself. And then you start co-writing when you live in Nashville. Everybody, that's all they do is co-write.
Oh, really?
And so when you start writing, with different people, then you start to see how their mind works and how they put things together.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for a while also I was struggling because you have to have your own sound. And when I was, when I first moved to Nashville, I wanted to be famous. I wanted to be on the radio. I wanted to be on CMT.
Yeah.
And so I was okay, I'll write songs like that. And it was kind of
pop country style.
Yeah. And it was kind of it's very interesting because now that I just talked about John Catone, it's bringing him back to me. So basically it seems the same type of thing happened. I was imitating someone else's sound, but then I realized I had to find my own sound if I wanted to make a difference. And so it wasn't until I wrote with this girl, Rose Falcon, who she's an artist. She's super one of the nicest people I've ever met. But she was from, I think her family's from New Jersey. So we had some sort of a connection. And we wrote it's on my record. It's called Daddy, but I put it out before on my first EP.
Yep.
But we wrote that song together. And that was the first song that I ever wrote that I felt was special. And then it wasn't until I wrote 40 Miles from Memphis with this woman named Cindy Morgan that lights went off. And now I knew what my sound was.
I
Can't stop thinking of you. All these nights I've been crying on my pillow. I'm pushing down on my blue suede boots. Got the windows rolled down, the pedal to the metal. Small town southern boy meets a midtown city girl. Wanted to be true and settle down. I wanted to see the world. 40 miles from Memphis, I'm driving all night through. You never know a good thing till it's gone. It took me a while to get this. I'm on my way back to you. I hope it's not too late when I get home. 40 miles from Memphis.
So in these, co-writing experiences, is that still somewhat what you're doing, or like, what is your, a little bit of your songwriting process? Like, do you sit down and say, I'm going to write some songs now, or is it melodies that pop into your head at certain points and you just kind of jot them down? It's a little bit more fluid and spontaneous, or do you have like writing sessions?
Yeah, I feel like I'm a spaz. I feel like sometimes all I do is write and I'm obsessed and I can't stop writing. And and then there's times where like, nothing's coming and I don't want to write. I don't want to write a shitty song. So if I start something and it's shit, I just toss it aside and I keep the idea.
Yeah.
I keep if I have a hook that I really believe in. So for instance, like the song Tough Kitty, that's going to be going to be one of the songs off the record. I wrote that song like 3 or 4 times because I really liked the concept, but I couldn't get the melody right. And that's, to me, like, honestly, I guess when you're writing a song, the most important part to me is the melody. Mm-hmm. And the action and the hook. Yeah. Yeah. So once you have those two things, you're kind of golden, because then you can mess with the lyrics until you feel like they're correct or feel like they resonate with like what you want it to be. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if that makes any sense to you. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I guess that what comes to mind is that a lot of your songs do kind of harken back to that classic storytelling country. Like, the song starts, pedal steel comes in, and we're going on a journey for the next 4 minutes, come along, so how does that, is that like an intentional thing with what you're trying to write there? I don't think I feel like everything that I've ever tried to do that to make intentional, it's not like me, and things that just naturally happen is like how it works. And, I think that all of this stuff, like, cause again, like growing up and singing classic country for like years and years and years and years, and listening to classic country and listening to just 90s country really, and all of that mixed in, just penetrated me. Mm-hmm. And I love it because, like you're saying, it's about life and it teaches you things and it means something. And I guess that's like what I realized I wanted my music to be like. I wanted it to be like people I believed were, I consider my heroes and my heroines. Like, I don't. Yeah. Yeah. So that's probably why I have that sound, because that's what I love most about music, I guess. Yeah. What kind of comes to mind, just to kind of skip ahead or just a little bit, and before we talk about some of the records that you've done, the EPs you've done, like you're usually accompanied by Brian McKinnon, correct? That's your guitar player. How did you connect with him, and what is like I just kind of wanted to shout him out. I've seen him play. Yeah. No, I'm happy that you're saying this. Yeah, he's just like super, like seems like the right guy to be there, like super tasteful. And it's kind of all of it. Like, it's really like unbelievable. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, life is unbelievable. So it's really, all of it's crazy. So again, I lived in Nashville for like years. I never thought I would move home because I believed that I had to be in Nashville to pursue and achieve my goal, which was to be a country artist. And life beat the shit out of me. And I had to go home because that's what you do when life beats the shit out of you, right? You go home. I didn't want to go home because I was afraid to come home. I thought I was failing. I came home. I would go out with my friends. I had like a couple jobs, you know, like dead end jobs, whatever. And I would hang out a lot with my friends and go to bars and drink because that's what, you know, people do when they're trying to figure out what the hell am I doing with my life. Mm-hmm. And I would go when I first moved back home, I would just go to open mic nights and I would either try to make my dad come with me or I would just go by myself, which freaked him out sometimes.
Oh, if you're going to the...
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to this bar to go drink by myself, Dad. You're like, I don't know.
Yeah. And, you know, again, it's weird that I'm bringing my dad to these places, some of them, but whatever. And then I would make my friends would come here and there, but like, it's weeknights. They have to work. And like, I'm the crazy one that's going out to like an open mic night on a week, whatever. So I randomly met Brian. I don't know how many years it's been. It's been years, but I met him through my friend, Sam. Her boyfriend at the time worked with Brian and they were all out on the town and we were all out on the town and we met and like I just knew he played guitar and like I think we all went out and sang karaoke together and it was fun. And then, like we exchanged numbers and we just started playing together and his friend Mike also would play with us. And yeah, we just started like jamming and I just started like showing him some of my songs and then he started like playing along to them. And then he started like introducing me to like Chris, well, I already knew about Chris Stapleton. For some reason, I can't remember this guy's name and I know who he is. Sturgill Simpson. Okay. So he introduced me to like Sturgill Simpson and like Paul Coffin and all these kids that were like cool and doing well, like what, you know, I wanted to do.
Yep.
And yeah, we just started playing together and like just doing it. And man, if it wasn't for him, like none of this would be happening.
Really?
Like I can say that about so many people. Like if it wasn't for Joe Johnson, none of this would have been happening. If it wasn't for Brian McKinnon, it wouldn't be happening. Then I have like friends in Nashville. If it wasn't for them, none of this would be happening. So it's just really crazy how like so many people help you out along the way. But yeah, he plays electric guitar and the kid's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm just a lucky kid sometimes, but yeah, no, I like, honestly, I hope one day I can be more like him because he's just so calm. Nothing like, he's like I don't know, he's like a solid, he's just, I don't know, he's kind of like a rock. Like Bob Seger says, like a rock, you know, like the kid is like, I'm like, Jesus, why the hell am I not like you, Brian? I'm the crazy one freaking out. And he's always like calm.
Yeah, he just seems, like like he just is kind of, like very statuesque, you know, and then he'll just wail on the guitar, you know, perfectly, but just kind of just be there, you know, like just a, you know, person.
Yeah, but he's funny though too, because he makes these little, like you know, if you're around him, you hang out with him enough, he makes little jokes. But he's just a very subtle, cool dude. Yeah, he makes like these very subtle jokes. A lot of people aren't paying attention and they miss. But I'll like listen and I laugh because I'm like, this kid's so funny. I can't. But yeah, no, he's like such a cool dude. And I don't know. I'm just really, really lucky, I guess. I'm just really happy that I have great people behind me.
And how does
by my side, I guess.
Yeah. And how does he play like play into like songwriting? Does he contribute during that time or are you like writing a song pretty much completely and then he's adding his part to it or is
well we actually we were just practicing before this and we wrote a song that I'm always trying to think ahead, so I have like this other record now that I'm like trying to think of because I'm trying to make sure I have the right songs for it and all this. But we wrote a song when I was recording Ramble On in Nashville. We were at this guy Otis's house who we always stay at. And it was like a night, I don't know if it was like a Wednesday or it was one of the final nights of recording.
Okay.
We had gotten out early. So we went back to Otis's. It was just me and him. And we wrote a song together. And that was the first time we've ever wrote a song together. But I think it's really cool. And again, not for this project, but another project. Maybe you guys will get to hear that. But cool. Usually he just I'll write a song and then I'll show it to him and then he adds the parts and it breathes. It's like now, like I created the skeleton and now he puts the breath into it. And then when the other people come in, it becomes like a living thing. And that's how I look at all of it. It's never about me. It's about the big picture.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that a lot of artists have a really difficult time with. And I get it. I've been there, but being a small centered self doesn't get you anywhere. And that's what I keep trying to remind my own self of. Because it's very, very easy to become caught up in your own, again, baloney.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that I've said this in the past, but again, from my view, you were probably one of the hardest working musicians that I've seen in our, just kind of like period, but definitely from our state. Like before COVID, it seems that you just were constantly playing shows. Like you just were playing everywhere from, venues and different like fairs, festivals, breweries. You were just constantly playing, with Brian as alongside with you. But can you talk about like your tour schedule, like your dedication to that, some of the places that you're playing, like specifically in Rhode Island, like where do you typically do shows, places you like to play in Rhode Island, and just that process? Are you booking all of these shows?
So Brian, like so I book shows, Brian book shows, Joe, the guy Joe I was telling you about, he helps us book shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we just were taking whatever we could get because we wanted to play. Like we wanted to just keep practicing because we knew that we needed to like keep being out there to get good, because you can practice all you want in the basement. You can practice all you want like in your living room. But if you're not out in the environment, out in the world doing it, it's not the same. So like, that's why I'm kind of afraid too, because it's been so weird not playing. And like, it's been kind of a while, but we're still practicing, still trying to like, but so again, like I really enjoy playing at the Galactic Theater.
Yeah.
That was like one of the first places that like we really started playing together. And like, we have a really like awesome little following there. And I just feel like it's like a little family. It's pretty wild. It's a wild place. But we've played at like a bunch of breweries. We've played at like a bunch of fairs and festivals in New England. I guess fairs and festivals are probably my favorite.
Why is that?
Just because it's exciting. You see families. You see like, I don't know, the Ferris wheel. I like the food, like the apple crisp you get.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's like, I don't, it's just it's like an experience just to go to a fair. But yeah, I mean, all of it's awesome. You never know what's going to happen. You never know how a show is going to go, but, booking shows, like we've just been hustling, and that's probably what we're going to keep doing as long as we have to, and, just keep hustling. But yeah, right now we're just trying to focus on putting the record out, and then we're going to try to like start booking shows again, but it's just been weird. So we're hoping stuff. Yeah.
I mean, it does seem that we're reaching hopefully some sort of light at the end of the tunnel where, seems that clubs are starting to book some shows in the fall and some, outdoor socially distanced performances in the summertime and stuff like that. So at least it seems that we're getting to some hopeful change over these next couple of months through this year. So, and are there any certain musicians that you usually like to play with here in Rhode Island?
Honestly, the only person I usually play with is Brian.
Yeah. No, but like other like shows that you like to hop on, and just keep in mind that, probably TJ will be pissed if you don't say the Silks.
Yeah, we played a few times with Tyler James, Kelly. But honestly, like it's funny how that worked too, because like, we would always rub elbows with him. And then I remember like, we were trying to, because I wanted a producer for this like record, because like when we did the EP, we just all like, we didn't really have an extra set of hands, I guess you could say. We needed like extra help. We just needed a different perspective. Yeah. And we were playing at one of Tyler's house parties, and we were like talking about how we were going to come up with some scheme, because we were going to try to get like Chris Isaac to do it, or like we're going to try to do some crazy thing to try to get Dwight Yoakam to do it or something weird. And he's like, dude, no, I can just produce it if you want. And there's been these kids in like Nashville that I was thinking about working with, but it was just kind of like, eh. And so I was like, well, I guess, yeah. Okay, cool. Like, yeah, Tyler, you want to help us produce it? Like, yeah, let's try it out. And so like he came to Brian's house for like months, every Monday, and we sit and go through the songs. And like, yeah, he, there was a couple of songs that he like made suggestions like, oh, maybe we should get rid of the bridge here, or maybe we should do this. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
And we did it, and it obviously like it worked out. And yeah, it's been interesting, like just working with different people. Like again, they all have their different takes on things. But honestly, like I think that it's kind of like when you're producing a record or when you're making a record, because again, the whole thing producer is just very interesting to me. But when you're making a record, everyone's making it. It's not just one person. And so like, it's kind of like he was like steering the ship for a while, and then maybe Brian would get on and steer the ship, or then Ben would get on and steer the ship, or I would get on and steer the ship, or one of the session musicians, like maybe John would steer the ship, or whatever. But we're all taking turns like putting our creativity into it. So like, yeah, he was probably like one of the captains for a while, but like we're all contributing to it. And it was really cool working with him because he definitely made us better. So fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. He's an incredible player and an accomplished, musician here with his band, the Silks and stuff. So, because he played on it as well, right, Tyler?
Yes, he did. He did. I was like, I don't want to play acoustic guitar, Tyler. You're going to play. And he's like, okay. And he killed it. He nailed it.
Yeah, nice.
He played acoustic. And he's obviously, we know the kid's crazy, like good at guitar. And it's like ridiculous.
It doesn't even seem like he's trying, which is what probably makes makes it angry. He's like, here's this little lick, and as he grows another finger,
it's like, okay, one take Tyler. That's what I should call the kid. But I was like, all right. But and then like there was a couple songs he played electric on, and then like Brian would play, some of the parts too.
Yeah.
And it was cool. He kind of reminds me of like a brother, like my brother.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes I want to give him a noogie, but I love the kid,
Yeah.
But that's he's very, I don't know. He reminds me of my family, like a lot. And again, like I don't even hang out with him that much, but just, I guess, because he's from Rhode Island, I just recognize that.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's my experience. I don't know him too well, but he was an extremely welcoming and kind person. The times that I've like interacted with him, and he's fantastic. So, but I kind of just want to quickly run through some of your releases. Your first EP was self-titled as well. Came out in 2015, right? And
it was just a guitar vocal type thing. Yeah. I did it. So I used to work at Loveless Cafe, which is like this famous restaurant in Nashville for like fried chicken and biscuits. And, and in the back, they have this venue. So that's where I worked. I worked in catering. It's called the Loveless Barn. And so I worked there for like a while. And one of the head workers, he's like a manager there, I guess. Or I think I don't know what his role was. But anyway, he took me under his wing, and he like gave a couple of the workers like an opportunity to go into the studio for free. And so that's why I did that, because I got to go into the studio for free. And at the time I was working with this producer, Paul Maybury, and it was a cool experience. It was like a baby step, and then again, I met Brian, I moved home, and then we started touring, and people were like, you need to put out music. And again, so the person who always helps me is named Bob Palmer, and he's just the nicest guy in the world. And he helped me out and offered again like the studio for free. And so we went in and did it. And that's how we did the EP with like the cowboy. I guess the first one doesn't have a cowboy hat because they're both self-titled. So it's the second EP with the cowboy hat. With like Rhinestones and all of that.
Just because you wear a Stetson and you say you were made in Texas doesn't mean you're country and western. But baby, if you can walk the line, I'll let you take me home tonight, wearing nothing but your bolo tie. It's hard to find a diamond in a world full of rhinestones. I got my eye on a heart made of gold. Don't waste my time, you're gonna shine like a rhinestone.
so I have a couple of friends that live in Nashville that have been with me since I worked at Loveless. Amanda Renkel, I went to Belmont University with her, and she is like a co-writer on my record, and she's like one of my solid friends. And then Ben Kleiss, he's been with me also since the beginning, basically, of my Nashville days. And he's like, he engineers and produces and mixes, and the kids, the bomb. But anyway, we all got together, and we created that EP, which is the 2019 EP. And
That's
so that
awesome.
was like us trying to be playing with the big boys. And I guess some people liked it, which was cool. And then, you try to keep getting better. So you try to look back on that experience and say, well, how can we make this next experience better? Yeah. And so now when we went into the studio for Ramble On, we added Tyler, and I got some different musicians, and things really worked out.
Yeah, and that was done at the Tracking Room in Nashville.
The Tracking Room, yeah, they've all been at the Tracking Room, but
they have. Okay,
the place I think got knocked down.
It did?
Yeah, our record is like one of the last records that ever was made there. It's pretty creepy and pretty awesome at the same time. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the new record has some of these earlier songs that have been re-recorded, some new songs. Like, how are those decisions made of what to re-record? Is it something that you want to like flesh out a little bit more, or for instance, like 40 Miles to Memphis, like, is it, you can like just hear these other things and like, we need to add, more instrumentation to this earlier.
I don't do that. I don't try to overthink. When I start I overthink as it is. So if we all went in, we all talked about what we thought the song should sound like. When I told you me, Brian and Tyler would meet on those Mondays, we kind of had a vibe. We went in, we let people do what they want to do. Yeah. Tyler would say, oh, you're doing this, try this a little, whatever. Yeah. That's the vibe of how I go about like making music. I don't like to like put anything in a box. Yeah. Okay. I like to get good people in a room and let them go wild. Let them do their thing. And then if I like what they do, which usually I do, that's great. Or if we're like, can you try this? They try something different, but usually they're dead on the first time if you get the right people in the room. And so that's what it's always about. Just finding the people that you want to be in the room with you. Okay.
Yeah. But I guess, how do you choose from some earlier songs? Yeah, like like song, like that song was a couple of years old when it seems like it was written. How is that decision process made of like, what, I want to re-record this, I want to add some stuff to it, because it's not everything that you've done in the past. There's some of these songs that you have the Chucktown takes that you did that have some of these other songs from a couple of years as well, which I do want to shout out. I really love that record. It's just cool. It's just like, I like the informalness, I do have to ask, why so much swearing, Charlie? I don't know why you swear.
I like to swear. I'm from Rhode Island. I don't know. I swear.
Yeah. But I love that record. I also love this new stuff that is more polished and on point, but I also dig that, kind of relaxed style of we're just recording some songs. But yeah,
to me, those are all rough drafts. Anything to me without a full band is a rough draft.
I got you. Okay.
So it's like those songs, anything that I did a quote unquote rough draft of, if I really believe in a song, I want it to grow up. I want to see it grow up. I'm not going to leave it as a 10-year-old kid or whatever, 5-year-old kid. Because that's how I feel like I look at my songs as children, kind of, since I don't have any. So it's like my babies. So I want to see like certain songs grow up. And like, I always thought that Daddy and 40 Miles from Memphis were special. And I felt like they deserved to be on my first full-length record. They belonged there. And I didn't know how they were going to sound. And also, that's the thing, like, I had these songs that I wanted to put on this record. And sometimes I thought they were good, and sometimes I thought they sucked. I never know until I go into the studio and things just work out.
Yeah. Okay.
I really don't premeditate a lot of things. I feel like when you premeditate too much, you're taking away from the authenticity of something. Mm-hmm. like, that's what I've just been realizing. I guess why people like resonate with what we're putting out is that it's real. It has depth. It's like about real shit. All the songs that I write are about shit that I've experienced. Mm-hmm. It's not like pretend shit that I make up. Like, it's real. I've experienced all of these songs. And I guess that's the thing too about when I write, like when I do things that like push me to the next level, growth wise, whatever, I get a new batch of songs because I got to the next level because I made myself face things I didn't want to do or face things that I didn't pretend like weren't there. Mm-hmm. And I think that's like, everybody's doing that, even if they don't realize it. Like, that's the point of life. We're here to grow. You know, we're here to like connect with people. We're here to make the world a better place. I feel like we're all little superheroes. And if you just like water that place inside of you and take care of that place inside of you, that's what's going to grow. But if you stay small and you say, you know, I guess like you got to just remember that we're all connected. It's very easy to forget though. Very, very easy. So it's something you got to be vigilant with.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of external pressure around us, you know. Charlie, what can people expect with the new record? You know, you just put out your first single. Is that, you know, a little bit of a taste for what the record is?
Yes, it is a taste. I feel like the record is a wild ride. It's fun. It's exciting. You know, it's going to get into your soul. I don't know, man. Like this record, I don't know if I would have survived this past year without it. I'm going to be completely honest. Like it's helped me.
That's great.
It's just been like a really positive thing. And I'm just really happy that, I created it with my friends. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited to hear it. Exceptionally happy to see the response to it already. You know, I'd like to talk about the video, but you know, even just seeing how much people have shared that, how many people have kind of viewed it within like a day, was really cool. You know, I mean, I don't know what your expectations were with any of that stuff, but it just
no, I don't
cool.
have expectations. I just hope it comes out good. This kid, I'm telling you, Brian. I have him do the craziest shit with me, and he's always down, always. Crazy shit, dude. Like, I'm not even going to get into the details. One day we'll talk.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's always doing stuff with me. But like these videos, like the Red Wine video was a last minute video. Mm-hmm. I was trying to figure out what the singles were going to be. Yeah. And I thought that this other song was going to be a single. And the people I'm working with suggested a different one. So I was like, how can I throw a last minute video together? And like, I don't know if you know of Natal. Have you heard of Natal?
Yeah. Like here in Rhode Island. Yeah.
Yeah. She's like really cool. I'd met her at a couple of like shows and I always really liked her. I thought she was like, I really liked her energy. Her energy is awesome. Anyway, yeah, so I reached out to her because I know she does all of that. And we were going to use her for the 40 Miles from Memphis music video, but then the COVID baloney crap happened. So then, that changed. But we went to New Hampshire and it was freezing. We went in November. It's like I just started working. I just started working at Amazon and it was like, okay, you know, physically tired, whatever. Mm-hmm. And we just went and did it. And it's just magic. You just go. I just did whatever she told me to do. I just tried to be what she asked and things worked out. Yeah. And that's kind of how it's always just happened. Like even like the next video that we're putting out is for El Paso.
Okay.
And I during the quarantine, I was trying to figure out what to do with videos because like we couldn't have any people in them really and all this stuff. So I was like looking at like DIY, like easy videos. And I came across like this video. It was very simple. It was just some guy on the beach. And I'm like, maybe I'll just do that for El Paso. And so like, I talked to Brian about it. And then he like he went out like scoping beaches.
Oh, really?
And so like we went to like this beach in Little Compton one day, and we passed on it because it like smelled really bad of seaweed, and like and there were rocks everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, Brian, I don't think I can walk barefoot on this. Like I know I'm trying to be tough. Like I get it. I know I'm like a little pansy half the time, but like I think I might fall and like hurt myself. So like we passed on that beach.
Yeah.
And then so we ended up, I wanted to go to Cranes Beach, which is in like Massachusetts, but it's all like, it was locked up. Cause we ended up leaving, like we met up at a 7-Eleven. I think it was like a gas station off of Route 7. I don't know. I think it's 7-Eleven. I don't know. But anyway, we met up at like 2:30, 3 in the morning so we could get there before the sun rose. But we drove to Cranes Beach and it was closed. So then we went to this other beach that he had like visited on Plum Island. And so we just drove there and we made it right in time. And like, we just did it together and it's freezing. And like, we did it and it worked out. And then my friend Amanda Renkel and Ben Kleiss put it all together and polished it up. And we did that one. And so we'll see. We'll see if people like it. You know, who knows?
Yeah.
Paso was where we met, where you walked away. Guess our love was just an act, a part for you to play. The cactus had blossomed, the river on the rise. I never saw it coming, it was all a waste of time. He left me in a Lone Star State. He left me on a sunny day. He left me with the desert sand. He left me at the Rio Grande. He left me for a man. You love who you love. Baby, that's not a crime.
Well, yeah, I mean, the red wine video, I would have never guessed that was kind of thrown together. It seems very well planned, you know, with the story arc of it. I guess I'm kind of curious, was like some of the free hijinks that kind of happened at the end of that video, was that a planned thing, or did it just kind of happen? Like, were you just like, you know, we're going to just start drinking wine out of teacups and just kind of horsing around and stuff like that? Or was it, that was part of the, cause it, you know, some of the outtakes and stuff like that just seemed fun and silly, you know? So.
Yeah. Natal, like, she's awesome. I don't know. Like, she's like one of the best people I've ever worked with. Super professional, super creative, just like amazing. And she came up with like a lot of it. Like, I had a couple little suggestions, but it was mainly like her masterpiece she created in her head. Yeah. She's just telling me what to do, what mood I'm in. Like, oh, you got to do this. And I'm like, I'm not used to this. I'm like, okay, whatever you tell me, Natal. I hope I don't look like a psychopath, but yeah, I'm looking at you. And so she's like, yeah, we're going to get up tomorrow at 5 a.m. and right, so that way you can get it this part. And I'm like, okay, great. It's again New Hampshire, November. I'm a small person. The wind blows right through me. Yeah. So we're outside on a mountain. Brian's with us. We got these propane heaters. Dangerous. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
All around us because we're freezing. We're all freezing. And so we're shooting that. So then after we do that, this morning scene, we decide now the next scene is that barn scene. And I'm like, I'm kind of skeptical because like you're saying, like, I'm not really sure how me playing with teacups is going to look. So I'm like, all right, I'll go with it until whatever you say. And then once I started first of all, those cups were all crusty, had dirt in them. Probably should have cleaned them a little better before I started pouring the wine in and drinking it. But I'm still alive.
Yeah.
So I started pouring
a little dirt won't hurt, right? You know, so
no, I guess it doesn't. So I started drinking it and then I got a little drunk because I'm a lightweight. And so, I got a little crazy. And then Brian, I don't know where the hell he comes from. I don't know. He just starts acting goofy as well. I guess he turns on a switch. But yeah, it was all very random. It's all just like going with it. Whatever the present moment asks you for, you try to do.
Yeah.
That's how things work out, I guess, for me anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool.
Yeah, and it's all just really cool too, like how people respond to it, because it's like, I mean, I used to care so much about all of that, and I just don't really care about it any, like in terms of like, I wanted to be famous, I wanted to be like this big star. I don't really want that anymore. I just want to like make music that I like care about and just hope for the best. And I don't really care about, I don't think being famous is what it's all cracked up to be. I'm not famous at all. And I just like took a little peek in the peek hole and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That's like when that first EP came, well, the second 2019 EP came out and I had a little attention. It was scary because I wasn't used to that. And I was like afraid it wouldn't like it would not stop, but then it stopped. So I know eventually, like once all of this happens, it'll calm down. But it's scary because it's like a wild animal, like that you just put out into the world, and you're like riding it. It's like I'm riding this wild horse. I don't know where I'm going to end up.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I don't end up in a ditch. But
So I mean, what was your response to the Rolling Stone feature?
Yeah, it kind of seems like a fairy tale. Like it makes me, I don't know, like I'm just very emotional. Like I cry all the time, like in a good way, not in a bad way. Like I'm just overwhelmed by like all the positive things that are happening to me and like my friends. Yeah, because that's the thing. Like we're all chasing dreams and like working together. We're all like making those dreams happen. And that's what's really cool about it. And yeah, like the Rolling Stone thing, like it's wild. It's crazy. I'm happy. Like, thank you, Rolling Stones. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Like, wow, cool. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I never know what's going to happen. Yeah. I try not to like I said, I try not to care about that. Like I care about it, but I try not to anticipate that stuff because it just freaks me out.
Get like too wrapped up in it. Yeah.
I just try to like, that's why like what I've been trying to do is figure out how I can stay as grounded as possible. Cause it all seems like you just get, it's like a hot air balloon, you know, you just get pulled up into it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, can you tell people about the, like when the new record's out, where they can pick it up, where it's going to be available?
Yeah. So it's going to be available through Bandcamp if you want like physical copies of the CD. And if you want a vinyl, we're getting vinyls. We just have to wait for them like to give us a date where we're going to receive them because it's all on back order because of the whole virus baloney. Keep saying baloney tonight. I don't know if I want to make a baloney sandwich after this. The word of the day is Bologna. But yeah. And if you come to a show, you can buy stuff there. So hopefully we're going to start getting shows on the books again.
Cool.
But yeah, one thing at a time. So, and then, yeah, you can buy it digitally, I believe, on Apple Music, and it's going to be available on all those platforms that are out there. I feel like the kids these days aren't into physical stuff, but we're going to have some physical stuff, like I said, if they come to shows.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's exciting to hear that you're going to be doing this on vinyl and CD. Are you doing it? Is this independent? Are you working with any?
We're working with Soundly Music. They're helping us. It's been really cool working with them so far. I mean, I feel like they're so smart. I get on calls with them. They're saying all this stuff. I'm like, cool. I'm writing it all down. I understand. Like they're talking about all, because I again, like, you know, being an artist nowadays, you have to do all this social media stuff and all of this. And there's so many things that keep coming up. And it's like, I mean, I went to college for music business and I felt like at the time I kind of knew things, but yeah, the industry changes all the time. So I'm just really happy that I'm working with good people. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just, thank you again for like taking time out of your day to like talk to me.
Of course, yeah.
And I really think it's awesome that Johnny Cash was your first concert, by the way.
Oh, really?
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny because my first concert was Willie Nelson.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Pretty cool. Yep, at P-PAC.
Oh, nice. Yeah, well, I just have one more question for you here, Charlie. What would you say is your greatest music accomplishment to this point?
I think Ramble On.
Yeah.
After I did that record, I felt like I felt present when I was at the studio. I could feel myself like alive sometimes, not all the time, but I was alive then. And I don't usually always feel like that unless I'm like on stage. And after that, after I created that, like with everyone in the studio, I felt like this, some of the weight that's been on my shoulders, like for a lot of my career was lifted because I felt like I had done something I needed to do. I was like put here, like, we're all here for reasons. And I feel like this is one of the reasons why I was here. So again, like maybe that's the case. We'll see what people think. Who knows? Never know.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I've said, I can't wait to hear the record. Anyone that's listening, go pre-order it right now. But Charlie, you're awesome. It really means a lot to get to talk with you and learn more about your career. And again, keep that flag in the ground for Rhode Island country music. And,
yeah.
Keep flying it high. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And you're awesome, James.
You stained my lips with every kiss, made me a fool. We tied the knot, gave you my heart. Love can be cruel. All I needed to know was in a bottle of Merlot. When you took my hand and called me Marianne, I thank God I heard it through the red wine. Praise the Lord, I finally see the truth. Turns out maybe drinking ain't the worst crime, 'cause that bottle made an honest man of you. It's much too late to fix this break. Don't even try. It's what you said that made your bed. Go on and lie. Take the stupid ring. It don't mean a thing. Wasn't worth the pain. I hope it fits what's her name.